As men, we're supposed to suck it up. But at the same time, you're going to point and laugh at us. If men can accept it and they can deal with it and they can own it like you have.
Yeah.
Then
Hang on a minute. Like, this is actually
The Bowl Cafe podcast.
insane. Sweet.
I'd seen you guys say before, which I thought was amazing, by the way. Guys, who've been in the hair transplant world, but you still have the opinion of, hey, if you're losing your hair and if you can go down the road of just accepting it and shaving it off, then that is what you should do.
absolutely.
It's so refreshing to hear that, because then I know, it just shows me that what you're doing is honest, because there are people, like we've mentioned here before, who are, no, whether they're trying to make money out of it or whatever, they say, you should never do that, you're giving up, you've given up on it, you're going to look terrible, that's the worst thing you need to do, you need to save it at all costs. When you suggest that to guys, and I'm assuming you do, you said, like, it's not necessarily talking people out of a hair transplant.
No, I'm talking people out of having
Okay.
a hair. No, absolutely.
Right, okay.
And there's a method to my madness here. And I say
Yeah.
that because it's like, I'm in the industry. It's like, why are you talking people out of surgery? Because it's the best thing for them. Number one, I believe that people should accept themselves for who they are and not be so concerned about what they're seeing on Instagram. It's detrimental to the soul.
Yeah.
And we live in a society where you can't tell a girl that she's fat. You can't tell someone that they've got a big nose publicly. You can't tell someone they've got too much acne. You can't tell someone that they're ugly. It's politically incorrect. What's not politically incorrect is to laugh about someone losing their hair. Right? And so that's the blanket issue that we're all dealing with as hair loss sufferers. That's why we all, at one point or another, have lived in shame.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm losing my hair. Brush it forward, cover it.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
And it's the society, the world that we live in. Ha ha. I'll never forget. Quick story. There was a movie with Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick called The Cable Guy. And there's a scene where Matthew Broderick is talking to his boss. And his boss has a bad plug job. And you can see Matthew Broderick's eyes looking at the hairline while he's talking to him. And then later on, in a different scene, he's talking to his girlfriend about it. And he's talking about how horrible the guy's hair looks. And I remember, and I had the same thing going on, but I was really bald, right? I was 27 years old. I was about a Norwood 5, Norwood 6 at the time with that nasty hairline. And I was just sinking back down in my chair in the theater, right? I was so embarrassed. And that's when it hit me. It's like, fuck, it's like, this is like, everyone laughs about this.
Yeah.
So, that doesn't answer the question you asked, but I think it's important to address that because it leads into the fact that you're not alone if you're losing your hair. There are, 7 billion people on the planet? 40% of those people, or roughly just over half of those people are women. And 40% of those women are also losing their hair. But they've got solutions. They can wear wigs, extensions, and it works, right? It's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
As men, we're supposed to suck it up. But at the same time, you're going to point and laugh at us if we do, right? So we're fucked, basically, on both sides, we're fucked. So I think that if men can accept it and they can deal with it and they can own it like you have, then it builds character. Because what I went through it built character. Like, I can talk to anyone. I can be like, I've been on stage. I don't get stage fright when I'm speaking to groups of people. Because it's like, fuck, if I can deal with that, then I can deal with anything. And that's the way that my life has been since then. It builds character. So it's my way of saying, man up. Own it. Be that bald guy. But don't, it's like when you're losing your hair and it's obvious you're losing your hair and you're doing this thing or you're doing different things to hide it. It looks like you're trying to hide it.
Yeah, and it feels like it too.
Yeah, I mean, you dealt with that. So you decided to embrace it. And not only did you embrace it, You're telling the world about it. And that's why I like you. That's why I like what you're doing, because you're bringing this out in other people. In a way that, like, I've done it too, but you're on the other end of the spectrum. We're like this, but we met in the middle on this broadcast, and I think it's great, because I think that more people should do that, because to continue the answer to your question, if more people can embrace it, then fewer people will be disappointed by the alternative.
Hang on a minute. Like, this is actually
the Bold Cafe podcast.
insane. Sweet.